Hi everyone, this week we're going to talk about the death of the note services. If you're online forums, and you'll see all these Reddit everywhere, that all these companies are closing down, like, I don't use them so I don't know, but like Cover Page or script reading services and all this sort of stuff. A lot of them are run by the one company anyway, so if that company goes broke, they're all going to go broke. But I believe it's coming down to AI. And I believe the death of these services is actually good for the overall industry. It is a bit of a herd immunity thing, but we'll get to that. Thank you for everyone who's been doing this. The likes, subscribe, the comments, it's all fantastic. Thank you, it helps the channel. There is now the shop on the side where rather than me group books and t-shirts and stuff, they're just over there. Go have a look at the books, see if any of them suit you. Tools Not Rules is not for basic writers. It is actually for people who actually know a little bit and how to get themselves around a screenplay, but need the tools to actually drag a good story together. That's what Tools Not Rules is all about. But let's have a look at the death of these script services and why I think they might be good for us. If you want to just write scripts for a hobby and you love the idea of creating and writing and those sorts of stuff, it's great. Look, guitars. I'm not going to ever be a professional guitarist, but I collect these things. I love playing these things. I actually make some as well. These are my hobby. And I probably spend just as much on my hobby as many professionals do on their equipment. But I understand it's a hobby. If there was a service that came to me and said, look, if you just write these 4 chords, I guarantee I can get a record executive to listen to it. If you wrote a song that had this structure over these 4 chords in this key, I guarantee I can get a record executive to listen to it. All those sorts of things in the music industry, everyone would go, no, Craig's got a head like a smacked ass. He's not going to be a pop idol. Come on. His voice is all over the place. It's raspy. He runs out of breath all the time. He's not going to be a superstar because it's obvious. I also can't sing very well. These things are obvious. But in the film game, for years we've been told there's a magical formula and there's all these books that tell you about the magical formula. And on this page, you've got to do this. And, I push back against those all the time. But what loves formula? What is the thing that loves a good yes-no flowchart? Computers. Computers love that shit, right? So AI would love that as well. You can go to ChatGPT or your favorite AI and say, please give me a summary of Save the Cat. Poof, there you go. And it loves that stuff. So all these people who would take these formulas, and some of them would have had skill, some of them could have told you how to maybe fix up a structure of your story. You're doing too much of this, you're doing too much of that, you're doing this, your sentences aren't good. They basically regurgitate a lot of the basics. So you're showing, you're not telling. You're putting in really heavy-handed stuff. See how you've got half a page of room description? That's a 1-second shot. So we don't want to spend 15 seconds of page time for a 1-second glancing shot. I know you think you're setting up tone, but that's not how tone's set up. They could give you those sorts of notes. They are really helpful. But so many people I speak to that say, who wants to read my thing? I really want to get some feedback on it. What they're really saying is, I want to, good on you, fella. You go, girl. That's the sort of stuff they want. I've done this, I've written up a couple of pages and said, look, I've read the first 10 pages or so, and here's a lot of the things that you're getting wrong, and it's really getting in the way of the read. I can't really read this and understand it because it's done in this way. And if you can fix these basics in your skill and in your craft and run it all the way through your story will improve, and I'll be able to read it and understand it. And then one comment you get back is, but could you read it and tell me what you think of the story? Well, I can't tell you what I think of the story because I can't see it. I can't understand it. It's taking so much work to get through. It's basically unreadable. It's like if someone gave you a meal that had like a bucket load of salt in it. You say, all I can taste is salt. And they say, yeah, but did you like the consistency of the sauce? Yeah, all I can taste is salt. Yeah, but how well was it cooked? It doesn't matter. All I can taste is salt. So people didn't want to be told all you could taste was salt. People wanted to be told, there you go, you've done really well. And guess what? Does that really easily? AI. You put into AI, bang. And I've seen these services. People get professional screenplays. I can't remember what the service was, but they fed Charlie Kaufman's Clint the Clean Mind one. They put that script through, and then they read the notes out as an advert. Oh, look, our note machine says he does this well, he does this well. And it gave it an overall mark of 8 out of 10. And you think, wow, fantastic. One of the greatest scripts of all time from one of the greatest script writers, and your software has genericized it down to an 8 out of 10. And it says, the characters are well done this way. This could be done better. And it was telling suggestions to Charlie Kaufman, which I think is a bit stupid. But that feedback was done in 30 minutes for $40. Do people want to pay $200 or $300 to a human being, which might take a week or two to get the notes back, when all they really want is, you've done this really well, and if you fix that, away you go. And that's $50. So it's $100. It doesn't matter. Even if it's the same cost as paying a human, you get it back in the hour, not 2 or 3 weeks later. So then time becomes the cost saving. So this is going to kill off all those note services. These AI services are going to kill those note services. And for me, this is where I think the herd immunity metaphor comes in. The reason so many production companies, prodcos, agents, everyone says we don't take unsolicited scripts, is because there's a million amateur writers that have read Save the Cat or Googled Save the Cat, see that it's a formula, thinks I can follow a formula, I can follow a recipe book, so I can follow this, and I can be big in Hollywood. And then they bump into these services that go, give me $200, I've worked with studio executives, I'm a studio executive. I've actually heard someone say, I was sick of being a studio executive, so I quit so I could become a writer. I didn't want to be the most junior person there. So the studio executive is the most junior person, apparently. Don't know that for sure, but I've heard people say that a development executive is just out of the mailroom. So, I was a development exec, or I've worked with this development executive, or I've worked at a company that had a development executive that worked in that company that did. There's been some really tenuous qualifications. So you give the guy $200 or $300, he writes it up, gives it back. And then he gives you that note. Your stories are 2 out of 10. Your craft is maybe a 4 out of 10, but I can work on with you to get that better. But you as a writer, you're a 7 out of 10. And people go, oh, I'm good. I've just got to keep paying this guy to tell me how to get better. And that sort of motive, that industry kept so many people in the game that made it impossible to see the really talented writers. And I'm not saying I'm a really talented writer. I'm probably part of that leafleter too. But it prevented the industry from going forward. I've seen people say, I've won this competition, this competition, this competition, this competition, and I can't get people to read my script because those competitions are the same. If there's 800 competitions, how can they be worth anything? I can imagine if the Olympics was ran every Friday night, a gold medal in 100 metres would be useless. It'd be, okay. Yeah, I think my dad had one of those too, because he turned up on a week when there wasn't many people running, and he managed to win a bronze in the decathlon because, there's how many people do the decathlon these days. But that was that week's decathlon. So too many competitions, too many people giving notes, kept the people that were hobbyists in the industry thinking that they had a hope of going forward. So they're sending things out, they're pitching, they're doing everything they can. And it was so much noise that the talented amateurs that should be coming through and becoming part of the industry are lost. People don't get to see them. So then it becomes a part of, you have to know someone who knows someone. There has to be a filter. Even the nickel, which was a good competition, and if you did really well on nickel, that was one competition that may get you some traction, has now gone, whoa. Everyone realised we were the only good competition, so now everyone's joining. So we're only allowing applicants, not even just for the right to apply to be in their competition. You have to be, referred by like a university or some high-ranking people or some do really well in a certain service and get suggested. So even they're saying, no, it's too much. Stop. There's too many of you. So all these services disappearing will mean that people that aren't really wanting to be writers, they're like, oh yeah, I can give that a go. Brain surgery. I have a head. I think I'll be a brain surgeon. Those people who aren't driven to write will give it a try and they'll get it out of their system. It'll be great. They won't be dragged in and had money siphoned from them on this misguided hope that they'll be a writer. And they'll learn and they'll go, you know what? It's a lot of hard work. It's not for me. Think of the NFL, American football. You've got your little leagues, then you've got high school football, then college football before you get to the NFL. In writing, you buy Final Draft, you pay a service, and you're being told you're just as good as anybody in the NFL. We all know that's crap. That's not true. So having these automated services, people pay, get it out of their system, and they'll leave. They will have had a good time. They will have picked up new skills, which is always great to have. But they won't be drip-fed hope by these services. And I, as you can tell, do not have a lot of respect for these services because they're never educational. If you're thinking, I'm still getting these really weird notes from this AI machine, maybe I should study correctly. Maybe I should go and enroll in a course at a university and find out how to write. Maybe I should go to a day college or a night college or whatever it is and learn how to write. Maybe I should just read like 50 screenplays. Maybe that should be how I read story from now on, is just read screenplays and I'll begin to see how it moves, how it works, what happens. And not this, on page 7, you must do this. You just get a feel. You just hear things. Back on the guitar thing, listen to a Dave Gilmour guitar solo out of Pink Floyd. You'll bend it out, and that's when most guitarists stop. Then you'll just bend it again, up another half step. Guitarists hear that, and they're blown away. Everyone else hears it and goes, oh, that's quite nice. That's very pretty. Isn't that great? Comfortably numb. Love the guitar solo. It's voted the best guitar solo of all time, all the time, because guitarists listen to it different. If you read 60 screenplays, you read screenplays differently. As you learn more, you begin to see different things, which isn't taught to you by AI and isn't taught to you by note services. It sounds like I'm picking on these people. I sort of am. Okay, guys. Thank you again for everyone who's been helping out. And until next week, keep writing. Bye.